Now, before I get into what I'm about to get into, I just want to make sure that each and every one of you guys hit that like or dislike button. Don't forget to put some motherfucking Coach K, Duke, full court pressure on that notification bell, as well as that noti button and that sub button so you can be notified via email each and every time your boy E Thriller, aka Ham Rothstein, aka the Black Picasso, because I paint these pictures so vividly, uploads a video talking about the sport of boxing or basketball. And once again, welcome back. Now, you see the title of the video. We're going to be talking about a little bit of basketball tonight. And I see you, Lenore. Just give me 1 second, bro. Let me cook real quick. So we're going to talk about a little basketball tonight because I just got done watching Game 4. And I tried to tell y'all on my last live stream, if Coach Mike Budenholzer listened to your boy E Thriller, then everything was going to be all right. And what did I say? Chris Middleton had to step up, and he did just that. The man came out and just went dumb, y'all. I'm talking about the motherfucker had 40 points on 15 of 33 shooting. He shot 3 from 8 from 3, 7 from 8 at the free throw line with 6 boards and 4 dimes, right? And Giannis, we all know Giannis is going to be Giannis. Giannis had 26, 14, and 8. He went 11 for 19, went by what, 50% from the free throw line, which is subpar. But man, when I tell you the biggest key to victory, in my honest opinion, was Coach Mike Budenholzer. Down the stretch, he did what? He took out Brook fucking Lopez, because what did I tell y'all once again? This motherfucker is too goddamn slow to guard Chris Paul and Devin Booker coming off of those pick and rolls, because the Phoenix Suns offense, their entire offense consists of creating a mismatch on a perimeter for Devin Booker, who, oh my God, the boy went Kobe Bryant tonight. The boy went Kobe, had 42 points. And it consists of Chris Paul lulling you to sleep, getting a little bit enough space to rise up and drop the draws from the mid-range. But whenever you take a Brook Lopez out of the equation and put Giannis or Bobby Portis at the 5, along with PJ Tucker at the 4, Chris Middleton at the 3, Connaughton at the 2, and Drew Holiday, who is struggling, at the 1, then, oh my God, you can switch all fucking 5 positions. And then maybe, just maybe, Chris Paul can't get off that shot because Giannis is guarding him now, who is athletic enough and who has enough length to bother his fucking shot. Okay. Now, a Chris Paul or a fucking Devin Booker have to try to dump the ball down to a DeAndre Ayton. And we all know that isn't his MO. DeAndre Ayton is a guy that gets a lot of putbacks. He catches alley-oops. But for the most part, he ain't a big that you can just dump the ball down to like a Shaquille O'Neal or Chris Webber or Tim Duncan or Kevin Garnett, rather. He ain't got that kind of fucking repertoire. You understand what I'm saying? So I just feel like I'm pissed because I'm not a fan of either one of these teams. And hell, the Phoenix Suns kicked my team out. I'm a Lakers fan. But I must say, if you are a Milwaukee Bucks fan, you have to be scratching your head during the game like, what the fuck is taking so long for Mike Budenholzer to realize that maybe, just maybe, Brook Lopez cannot play in this series. He cannot play in this series, y'all. And damn it, I can honestly make a point if we keeping it a bug, right? Brook Lopez had no business playing in the fucking Brooklyn Nets series because he couldn't guard them dudes either. And there's nothing to give against Brook Lopez. He is a good fucking NBA player. He can knock down open shots on occasions. He can get offensive rebounds and putbacks. He can alter shots in the paint. But whenever you're going up against a point guard who is a basketball savant, who is a mastermind on the court, when he's controlling the tempo and the pace of the game on both ends of the floor, I'm talking about Chris Paul, ladies and gentlemen, then you have to be able to defend him with bigs, because in today's NBA, there ain't no way you can fight through the screens and doing all this shit. You're either going to switch it or you have to blitz it or trap it. That's it. You can't be out there with dudes who can't really move on the perimeter. Those were back in the 80s and the early fucking 90s. You can't play in today's game like that. So Coach Budenholzer, I mean, my God, I want to give you credit, but goddamn, you took so long to listen to your boy E Thriller. And if y'all think I'm capping, let me just play this. Let me play this shit. This is from my live stream yesterday, y'all. This is exactly what I told the Milwaukee Bucks to do. Listen to this, y'all.
You're going to have to show up one of these games. And Chris Middleton has to be one of the most inconsistent NBA All-Stars I've ever seen, man. Because on the road, this man is a no-show. But at home, this man turns into fucking Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I mean, the dude can't miss. But in my honest opinion, what I would do if I was Coach Budenholzer, who I am not a fan of, because I just feel like he do a lot of dumb shit as far as the X's and O's aspect. I would start Giannis Antetokounmpo at the 5, right? I would put PJ Tucker at the 4. I would put Chris Middleton at the 3. I would put Connaughton at the 2. And then I would put Drew Holiday at the 1. And on defense, whenever Chris Paul or Devin Booker tries to create a mismatch in the pick and roll, because that's all they want. They want to get Brook Lopez on the fucking island so they can lull him to sleep, either blow right by him or sidestep and drop draws productions. If you don't know what that means they're shooting a jumper and it's going in.
Tell them, Thriller.
You understand what I'm saying?
Tell them.
So if they can't get that on Brook Lopez, then their offense is nullified, because at that point, then they're going to have to try to dump it down to a DeAndre Ayton who is rolling to the basket, and that's going to be pretty hard to do if you're rotating. You understand what I'm saying? So if I'm Coach Budenholzer, I'm telling Giannis, whenever Chris Paul runs that 1-5 pick and roll, I want you to switch. I want you to switch, because we all know Giannis Antetokounmpo has the length, the size, and the athleticism to keep up with a Devin Booker or a Chris Paul coming off them screens, right? So I just feel like that was the biggest thing that they did, or the biggest adjustment, rather, as far as the X's and O's. Excuse me, y'all, the other night. And I would go right back to it. And then once that falls through, I would put Portis in the lineup with a Giannis Antetokounmpo as well. But as far as Phoenix, I would just continue doing.
All right, so y'all heard what I had to say, man. And hey, let me just say this. Whenever it comes to basketball, I feel like can't nobody talk this shit better than me, y'all. I mean, I feel like I know the sport of boxing, but when it comes to basketball, the way that I break this shit down, the way that I study and analyze the game as far as that, and I play it too, I don't think there's a motherfucking soul on YouTube that can tell me shit about the game of basketball. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But let me get to this chat. Hold on. Shout out to my boy Lennar. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and drop the link, bro. So we can go ahead and get this out the way. Let me drop the link, and so you can come online and say what you got to say. There you go. Click on that link, my brother. He say, okay. Shout out to my boy Yaraski. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, bro. If you're new to the show, please hit that like button and sub to your boy channel, just FYI. He said bugs block the soul out of the Suns. Yeah, man. They locked down on defense, man. Giannis came up clutch with that late game steal. And then Chris Paul, man, he had a real shitty game tonight, y'all. I mean, the turnovers. The man had 5 of them. He had 2 crucial turnovers in the goddamn fourth quarter in the waning moments of the game. But Devin Booker, what can I say? I mean, you want to talk about bouncing back from an abysmal game 3. The man had 42 points, y'all. I mean, he was virtually unstoppable. And if you're a PJ Tucker, man, I can't say enough about the job that a PJ Tucker has done for the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that was the best midseason acquisition in the entire NBA, man, because this man is able to guard 1 through 5. We all know that he guarded bigs in Houston. We all know that he can guard wings because he's doing it now. He guarded Kevin Durant in the playoffs. He guarded James Harden at times. He's guarding Devin Booker. He guarded Chris Paul. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this man fucking impact is something to be reckoned with. And I think that move right there, along with the Drew Holiday, who isn't living up to the hype or the expectations of his contract, rather, is what's going to put the Milwaukee Bucks over the top. I got the Bucks winning this series, even though I'm rooting for Chris Paul, and I think the Suns have a shot. I just think if the fucking Bucks, along with Coach Budenholzer, do exactly what I'm been saying for I don't know how long, then they should have absolutely no problem in winning this series, y'all. I see this series going 6 games, and yeah, I got the Bucks winning the next 2 games, man. I really do. I got the Bucks winning the next 2 games. And shout out to my boy Lennar Thomas. You are live on the chat with E Thriller. I heard you been looking for me, bro. What's poppin'?
Yeah, I have, man. It's time to get some mama's cooking, man.
Go ahead, man. Say what you got to say.
So
First
this
of all, welcome to the show. I appreciate you for subbing up to my channel tonight, but I'm not gonna take it easy on you now. And don't take nothing I say personal. Now go ahead.
Okay, hey, listen, as long as you respect me, I respect you. You give me my time to speak, I'll give you your time to speak. Is that fair?
Floor is yours. Floor is yours, my brother.
Okay, but is that fair? You give me my time to speak, I give you your time to speak. Is
Hey
that
man,
fair?
I can sit back and shut up all day. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So my only gripe is this, and I'm at work, by the way. So something I'm almost off in about 80 minutes.
Hey, now I'm not trying to get you in trouble now.
Yeah, no,
You
no,
can
no.
always call in.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. How long are you live for?
Yeah, I ain't gonna be live for that long, bro. I just wanted to come on and talk about the game. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, basically, my only gripe, and we can talk about it a little bit later when I fully have time to sit down. My only gripe was you may have made a video with Manny Pacquiao versus Earl Spence Jr. and the video was pertaining to Manny not enrolling in VADA, and that Earl Spence, quote unquote, Earl Spence fans should just shut up about it and not say anything. My only gripe was that at the end of the day, I believe both fighters should be enrolled in VADA, and now it looks like Manny Pacquiao is enrolled in VADA. Hopefully, Earl Spence is enrolled in VADA as well. And all I wanted was an even playing field. Whether or not Manny Pacquiao was the A side does not matter, because if you're a fan of the sport, you don't want both fighters not to enroll in VADA, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was my only situation. But when we kind of first got introduced to each other and you were making your argument, it was you made it seem almost like it shouldn't matter that Earl Spence Jr. Should not matter because Manny Pacquiao is the A side, so it shouldn't matter whether he's taking it or not. That's what it seemed like.
Go ahead.
No, that's all I have to say. It's just that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all I have to say on that. And so it was just you made it seem like Earl Spence Jr. Since he's not the A side in this situation, that basically people who support Earl Spence Jr. fans should just shut up because he's not the A side and just let whatever happens. And all I wanted to even playing field for both sides. Both fighters should be able to take VADA, and we have no issue, correct?
Exactly, but this is my thing. Are you done cooking?
I'm done cooking. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, so I'm looking at your comment, and that video was about Manny Pacquiao being the A side, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the comment that you left. You said all the fans are asking for is an even playing field with accurate, consistent drug testing. Why is that wrong? A side or not, this is mandatory when the WBC belt is on the line. So if Manny doesn't enroll, then that's a great indication that he may be juicing. Just saying. So get the hate out of your voice, fam. So my response to you was, but didn't you say it was mandatory when it comes to the WBC belt? So why are you so worried? Manny has never tested positive for anything in his entire illustrious career. That's where we disagreed at. Because if it's mandatory, Lamar, then why in the fuck are we even talking about it? That was my entire point of the video.
It was, even though it's mandatory, up until that point, Manny Pacquiao had not taken it. So we were up in speculation. Okay, so then we were up in speculation about it.
But don't just say Manny, though, not to cut you off. Don't just say Manny. You also said within this comment that Earl wasn't enrolled either.
I did say that. Yes, I 100%.
And then I said, well, damn, if neither one of them have enrolled, then what the hell are we talking about?
We're talking about both fighters being enrolled in VADA during that time to make it an even playing field. That's the argument. You see what I'm saying? That's all I wanted. I did say Earl Spence too. It's not like I'm just leaving Earl Spence Jr. out. I wanted both of them during that time. Now they're enrolled, so it's not really much that we can say. Hindsight is 2020. But during that time when they were not enrolled and the fight was announced, it was a couple of weeks that went by and they weren't enrolled yet. That was the issue. I wanted both fighters to be enrolled so we can have an even playing field and there's no excuses.
Right, but see, this is my thing. Whenever this question was posed to me, whenever I did a live stream long ago, I can drop a link. And as a matter of fact, I can pull it up in just a sec. When everybody thought Terrence Crawford was going to get the fight with Manny Pacquiao, right? I was 25 minutes into my live stream. I had never once mentioned anything about a drug test. a question was posed to me about, hey, should Terrence Crawford make Manny take the test? I said, yeah, he should, but if he doesn't negotiate it in the contract, then oh well. The same thing happened to Keith fucking Thurman. I ain't gonna cry about it. I'm not gonna bitch and moan about it because I still think Bud would kick his ass either way. That's my position. So when it comes to Earl Spence fans trying to harp on this one, I'm like, well, wait a minute. You guys claim that this nigga is the second coming of Marvin Hagler, and I'm being facetious, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? So it shouldn't matter whether or not Manny is on the juice, because my rebuttal to you was, but damn, hasn't Earl been accused of taking steroids too? But you don't hear me coming out on video saying, oh, Earl Spence is a juicer. Earl Spence is a cheater. I've never once said that in any of my constructive criticism videos of Earl Spence. Have I not?
And I haven't heard you say that. But
okay. All right. So long as we got that clear, I'm good.
Okay. Yes. So to squash both to any doubt, if they both took drug testing, then it's fair, correct?
Right.
There you go.
I'm not opposed to it. My point to you was, let's quit whining about it, because you said it was mandatory. So the WBC ain't just gonna cover their fucking eyes and say, oh, well, we're not gonna let make Manny take the test or Earl take the test, even though it's mandatory, right? That was my point.
Yeah, but during that time is what I'm saying. See, it's easy to say now because they're taking the test. But
well, we know Manny has taken the test. We don't.
You're right.
I have yet to hear anything about Earl.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize. Manny said he has taken the test.
Okay.
So with that being said, it's easy to say that now. But back then, there was no drug testing at all. We hadn't heard anything as weeks had gone by. It raised concern. So that's my point. Is when I had made that comment. See, everything has to be put in its proper context. Right. When I had made that comment, again, both fighters had not taken any type of drug testing. Right. And Manny Pacquiao, to be fair, I'm not saying he's a juicer, but he has been heavily accused. Like you said, Earl Spence has been accused, but we all know Manny Pacquiao has been accused heavily. Again, not saying he's a cheater, but that does make you just raise your eyebrow and say, hey, so let's just have accurate, fair drug testing on both sides. Because again, during that time, we didn't have anything. So let's have it both now, accurate, fair drug testing on both sides. And I'll even say this. I definitely want to see Earl Spence Jr. now that Manny Pacquiao has supposedly enrolled, and according to his words, I want to see Earl Spence Jr. on the website, or somehow it being confirmed that he enrolled, so we can eliminate any doubt.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, because speaking of that word, I love that word that you mentioned, context, right? Because where's that same energy for Earl? Because everybody was up in arms about Manny not enrolling. Now that Manny has personally came out and said, hey, I had to make a deposit, which I did a video on that. Where in the fuck is those same videos talking about Earl Spence? Because we wanted on an even level playing field, right?
Yes. And
so that be my issue with the Earl Spence fans. So it's okay for you guys to fault everybody else for their mistakes, and I'm cool with that. All your boy Thriller is saying, well, damn, do the same thing for Earl.
Hey, if you just 2 minutes ago I just said, hey, I would like to see the same thing. And if it's not confirmed up to the fight that they don't have drug testing, then that's a problem. I'll be consistent. I want Earl to somehow, sometime before this fight is announced, they should at least announce some type of drug testing for Earl Spence Jr.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Have you seen any videos about Earl not taking the test?
That I have not seen.
How many videos did you see of Manny Pacquiao not taking the test?
I've seen a few, but then I can't control what other people do.
No, I'm not saying we all know that we can't control what people talk about. I'm just asking you a question as a boxing fan, because I'm pretty sure, such like yourself, such as me, we follow the sport of boxing on YouTube, right? So we can see content creators say, hey, Manny hasn't done this, Manny hasn't done that, but they're not keeping the same energy for Earl Spence. So that was the entire premise of my video. It was like, well, damn, y'all bitching and complaining, but your boy ain't enrolled in either. So what's the fucking problem?
Well, that's again, I'm not saying you're lying. I don't think you're lying, but that's kind of not what was said. The whole energy and the vibe of that video was basically, the point was, since Earl Spence and Manny Pacquiao have not taken Nevada up until that point, and since Manny Pacquiao is the A side, well, fuck it then.
That's exactly what I said.
But no, right now you're almost shaping it to be, and you're saying you're shaping it to be the other way around, and I'm saying that's not true. The way you made that video, and I watched the video, the way you made that video made it seem like, well, fuck, if he does not get it, So what? Oh well, Manny Pacquiao's A side. You got what you asked for, and that's a problem.
But that's
Because
the thing. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and
Go
yeah,
ahead.
and that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like I said, I want to see fair, accurate drug testing. If I don't see any fair from Earl Spence Jr. side, if it's not confirmed before the fight, then that's a problem. Because I can see it, because I can't just sit here and say, hey, Manny Pacquiao needs to be taking drug testing, and seemingly he has, and Earl Spence Jr. hasn't either. Excuse me, has not. So that's yeah. But when you made that particular video, though, you were shaping it in a way to make it seem like if Manny Pacquiao does not take drug testing for the fights, that it
Mhm.
does not matter. Oh well, just take it up. You use the A side. It is what it is. You got the fight, and you
And,
better hope you better win that fight.
and
You
you
know what I'm
and
saying?
you and you know why I said that? Because I said the same goddamn thing when it came to my favorite fighter in Terrence Bud Crawford. If he had a fight with Manny Pacquiao, I didn't bitch and complain. I didn't even bring up drug testing. Somebody approached me with the fucking question. I said, "Well, damn. I mean, he can try, but if it ain't in the contract, then fuck it. We ain't gonna run away from the fight." You understand what I'm saying? We ain't gonna make no excuses. If Bud go out there and get his ass kicked, then he get his ass kicked. I'm not here to protect my favorite fighters at all. So I'm saying the same thing about Errol Spence. Errol Spence is good enough, whether Manny takes the test or not, to go in there and kick his ass. He has all of the physical advantages in his favor, right? He has youth on his side, right? He has size. He has skills. He should be able to go out there and win, even though I'm not picking him to win, but he should win.
So at the end of the day, if you're saying even though he has all these advantages, so you're basically saying that it shouldn't matter whether or not Manny's on PEDs.
I'm saying it shouldn't matter or not if Manny is on PEDs or not, because Earl has been accused of PEDs as well. So if one guy ain't taking the test and the other guy ain't taking the test, it really don't fucking matter. That's
And
what I'm
see,
saying.
you didn't say that in your video. That was not what you said. So that's what they're saying that now. So if you're saying that now, no. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want any fighter to be on no PEDs. I want
Agreed, but I've
okay.
also said this on many occasions. I think all fighters take shit. Personally,
And that could be true. Hey, that could
right.
be
You will
true. I
never
mean, there's
know.
ways to hide it, but assuming against we can only go by whether they got pot hot or not. And then no fighting. So that's all we
Exactly.
can go by.
Ex-
If we're going based off of that, then no. Let's have an
exactly.
even playing field. No fighter taking this, no fighter juicing up this and this, taking up the ass here. No, 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 no. Let's have an
Exactly.
even playing field so there's no excuses.
Hey, I'm
That's
all
my
for it.
I'm all listen. I'm
I,
all
I,
for fairness, consistency. Hey, now at the end of the day, now I think what a better respectful argument we can have is whether we think who could win the fight. Because if we're all for no PEDs in this fight and there should be drug testing, then we have nothing else to talk about, particularly pertaining to that. Correct?
exactly. So let
Oh,
me ask you this. So are you basically saying that if Manny Pacquiao is on PEDs and Earl is not, you think Earl has no chance? That's basically what you're saying?
no, I'm not saying he has no chance. But if you're talking about a man who was on PEDs, depending on how much, again, we don't know how many PEDs he would be taking. If this hypothetical would come true, let's say that Manny Pacquiao was, that's not a smart bet. I mean, as much as I love Earl Spence Jr., I have to be realistic. When you're on PEDs, man, you perform better. So I definitely wouldn't. No, I don't want. And that's the same thing also with Terrence Crawford or any other welterweight. If Manny Pacquiao is on PEDs against any welterweight currently, I'm not sure if that welterweight could particularly win.
Mm,
You
okay.
know,
Well, that's
hey,
fair to say.
that's speed. I don't know. You can't
Hey,
take that.
hey,
Yeah.
listen, man. We can agree to disagree. I respect your opinion, but
Okay.
we don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah. There's no way we can prove that. Yes, because again,
Exactly.
assuming that they have not been taking PEDs, we can't just say that. So there's no way to prove that. So
Right.
fine. Now let's have a debate about who you think is going to win.
Go ahead. You
Okay.
already know who I think
So
gonna win. I'm
okay.
picking Manny. I got several videos stating why I think Manny Pacquiao is gonna win. So you can just make your case.
Okay. So the reason why I think Earl Spence is going to win is simply of these few reasons here. He's a younger fighter. He's a fresher fighter. He's a
Facts.
fighter with a longer reach. He's a fighter
Facts.
that's bigger. He's a fighter that's younger. To me, in my opinion, he's a fighter who is more technical. I believe that Earl Spence brings promise to Manny Pacquiao stylistically, and I also believe Manny Pacquiao brings promise to Earl Spence stylistically. But when you throw all these things into a pot and mix it and make mama's cooking for it, then I think it's a little bit too much for Manny Pacquiao. And then you want to also add the fact that Manny Pacquiao will be off for over 2 years. That's kind of hard for me to say, oh, Manny Pacquiao will be able to win. Now, what I will say is this. I do think it's going to be a good fight. I don't think Manny Pacquiao is going to go out like a hoe. I don't think Manny Pacquiao is going to get completely dominated from pillar to post, and he's not going to win some rounds and put up a great fight. But I do favor Earl Spence to get the victory at the end of the day. just because again these factors, just some intangibles and some tangibles. So
Mm.
it's both. It's just not because of one and the other. No, I think it's an overall accumulation that at this point in Manny's career that Errol Spence is just too much.
Now you do realize that experience plays a key in any major sport.
Agreed.
Correct.
Agreed.
Okay. Okay. Well, I hear your
Agreed.
point, man. You make some very compelling points. I mean, it's conventional wisdom. If you ask me, you're right. Earl has all the physical advantages. He has the youth on his side. He has skills as well. Nobody said he can't box, but I just feel like Manny Pacquiao is more skillful. And I honestly feel like if Manny wasn't that far up in age, this wouldn't even be a discussion.
And
People
that's
would be picking Manny Pacquiao.
a lot.
Correct?
Yeah,
Am I right or wrong?
and I can agree with you. More people would be picking Manny Pacquiao again.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily saying a younger Manny Pacquiao would beat Earl Spence. Again, I'm not sure how Earl Spence is going to turn on his career. I mean, a lot of times as boxing fans, we say, "Oh, there's no way that Floyd Mayweather would lose to Sugar Ray Leonard. There's
I
no
mean, that's
way."
hypothetical. We don't, nobody
That's what I'm
knows.
saying.
We can
Nobody
only,
know, and that's what I'm
we're
saying.
basing everything off assumptions and opinions.
Yes,
Nobody will know
yes,
definitively until they get in that ring on August the 21st.
of course. But what I'm saying is like now the people say there's no way that Earl Spence Jr. could win even when Manny Pacquiao is younger. What I'm saying is I can't necessarily say he'll lose or win because at the end of the day, Earl Spence's career is not over with. He's in his prime. So I can't necessarily say that he'll lose. I don't know. But if we're talking about now, due to Manny's age and other factors, if you put a gun to my head and say on paper who should win, I'm gonna have to go with my logical brain and say Earl Spence Jr.
We've seen stranger things happen in the sport of
Oh,
boxing,
we
man.
have.
Hey, everything you saying right now is the same thing I said 2 years ago in favor of Keith Thurman. Because I picked Keith Thurman to dust Manny off. I didn't think Manny had a shot in hell. And he went out there and proved me wrong.
Yeah, but it was a close fight.
It was a very close fight. Keith Thurman came on strong down in the later rounds, but that body shot kind of staved them off a little bit towards
it did.
What, the 10th or 11th round?
If you want to see a fight with a knockdown really made a difference, it was that fight. That was really a fight with a knockdown made the difference. Because
Definitely.
I definitely had that not been a knockdown, it would have been at least a draw. You could even because what is a knockdown? 2 points. You could even favor it to Keith Thurman.
Yeah, that was a real good fight, man. I feel like Keith Thurman, man, if he would have had at least one more round, he probably would have pulled it off.
But that's not Keith Thurman's style. Keith Thurman's a runner. He's not. Once Keith Thurman gets hit with a good shot, he's
a pop shot.
Yeah, he's a pop shot. He's gonna point his way to a decision.
Yeah, he's gonna use that ring to create his angles and shit and get out of harm's way.
He showed a lot of heart. How do you start this a round or two early? He would have nicked him.
But really, he had a lot of success whenever he said, fuck the boxing, I'm gonna just walk Manny down, which is why I'm kind of getting some calls to pause, because who does that better than Errol Spence? My thing is with Errol Spence, I just think he's too slow. He's too flat-footed, in my personal opinion, to deal with the angles that Manny Pacquiao is going to throw. Now, stamina is going to be a huge key for Manny. I feel like if he can hold up stamina-wise, because he did gas out a little bit towards the end of that fight against Keith Thurman, right, when he was touching him up to the body. If Manny Pacquiao can withstand the body blows and go a full 12 rounds of being active, he going to outpoint Earl and outwork him. That's my personal opinion.
But see, that's if. That's if.
And we all dealing with ifs.
We're dealing with ifs, but at least with that if, that's a very heavy if because he gassed out his last fight over 2 years ago.
That's cool, but some would say the time off may help Manny. You never know. I think
it could help Manny when it comes to his healing of his body, so not taking punishment. But I don't think it will help out for his timing and him being rusty. That's gonna be an issue, and the speed. That's gonna be an issue. It'll help out with you being held up and fully ready to go. That's gonna be, but it's not gonna help when it comes to your timing and your effectiveness. With your speed. So
that's why they have training camps, my brother. That's why they got to get in shape.
Training camp doesn't mean that you're gonna.
That's why they spar. I hear what you're saying, but when them bright lights come on, it's a whole nother ball game when you're standing across the ring from a living fucking legend who has been there and done that. We don't know if Earl is going to fold. We don't know if he's going to rise to the occasion. We don't know how he's going to deal with the adversity if he gets caught one good time by Manny Pacquiao. It's not impossible, Lamar. That's all I'm telling you. It's not impossible.
Can you say it again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last word.
I said we don't know how Errol Spence is going to respond to adversity. We don't know how he's going to respond if he gets caught with a straight left hand and gets rocked, similar to what Pacquiao did to a Floyd Mayweather. We don't know how he is going to respond under the brightest of bright lights because Manny has been there and done that.
Well, and I mean, yeah, that's true. But I mean, with all the fights I've watched from fighters and watched from him in particular, At his level, I mean, he's been in big fights. He's been in fights with over almost 50,000 people. He's went to another country and Kell Brook took somebody's belts. So he has definitely been in
That was
big
a
fights.
dog fight, just FYI.
That was a dog, and that's what I'm saying. I think that if you're talking about is he going to rise up because he's never been to this type of level, I think he will rise up. You know, again, we don't know until he gets in the ring, but I mean, I don't see any reason why he would just freeze under the pressure. I don't.
Hey man, all I'm gonna tell you is levels to this shit, man, and I'm riding with Manny Pacquiao.
Hey, you know what? And I respect it. I don't agree, but I respect it.
I'm riding with the legend, man. I'm riding with the guy that's been there, done that. Now, it could be a situation to where it turned out like Evander Holyfield and James Toney. You know, Evander Holyfield got old in the fucking ring that night. He couldn't do shit. That could be the case in this fight, but we won't know until August.
You want that's just speculation to this point. So you would favor Terrence Crawford against Manny Pacquiao if they were to fight?
Oh, absolutely. But if you go back and listen to my archives, I was even saying it would be a close fight for Terrence. Even though I said Terrence would still win, I was saying that he ain't just about to come in and walk all over Manny Pacquiao. Neither is Errol Spence.
And that's
I'm consistent.
We agree. I agree with that. You don't agree. We don't agree on the winner, but I agree that I think that.
Bro, listen to this. Not to cut you off. Floyd Money Mayweather, in my honest opinion, is one of, if not the greatest defensive fighters in boxing. Right? He said that Manny Pacquiao was his toughest opponent to date. And we all know Floyd fought super conservative and he made it look easy. But for him to come out and say that Manny was his toughest test, that says a lot to me, bro.
I agree with you. And the reason why he said that, because you can, like you said, he was fighting very tentative. He had to be, I mean, his eyes had to be open. He had to be 360 vision in that ring. He could not slip up not one time. Because he knew Manny Pacquiao would be all over him. So he just knew that. And you can tell the way he was fighting. He was popped. He said, I can't trade with this motherfucker, man. He's too good. He said, that'd be the wrong game. He said, I have to make sure I'm watching every punch like a hawk. And you see that, and that's what that's the reason why Floyd's so great. But at the end of the day, that's not the same Manny Pacquiao, in my opinion. Again, we don't know.
That's a hell of a point. I mean, you are correct about that.
That's a Manny Pacquiao 6 years younger. Excuse me, more than 6 years, but 7 years maybe?
When that fight happened, what, 2015?
2015? Yeah, but over 6 years younger, man.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And I mean, in 36, you definitely not a young man either.
and right. And Floyd was old too. But let me just say this, as far as Earl, what I think he can do to win, I feel like most people are going to say he needs to try to control the range and box him and use his jab and his length. I feel like Earl needs to go in there and mug it up. I feel like Earl got to make it an ugly fight. He got to beat him like a drum to the body and tie him up on the inside. Just fight dirty and nasty like he did against Sean Porter. He's going to have to Jeff Horn this shit.
I agree with you, but I don't think it's smart for him to do it in the beginning because Manny Pacquiao is so dangerous. Remember, Manny Pacquiao drops people in the beginning because he has so much energy. He's dangerous, man.
He's probably going to carry no matter what.
Yeah, I'm saying. So what I would if I was his coach again. I'm just a peon. I'm just a fan. But if I was his coach, man, I would just say, hey, this is what you got to do. You got to go there and you got to keep him on the outside, get him tired, keep that distance, nick around or two. Because, hey, I think that majority of the early rounds will go to Manny Pacquiao.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I think that out of the first 6 rounds, Errol Spence would nick around, maybe 2 at most. Maybe to nick around.
He's a slow starter.
Not because he's a slow starter. I think he's about an average starter, but I think because Manny Pacquiao is just such a fast he's a decent amount faster than Spence is such a quick starter that when Manny, it's going to take adjustment for Earl to get up to that type of speed. And so I think that in the majority of the beginning of the fight, you'll see Manny Pacquiao probably nick about 4 rounds. And then towards the end of the fight, he might nick around. And then, it'll be a close 7-5 or possibly a late stoppage. And the only reason why I said this is because Errol Spence Jr. has Blu-ray back in his corner. And then if anybody I don't know if you heard of Blu-ray, right?
Yeah, Blu-ray, yeah, his trainer.
Okay, yes, he's straight to the conditioning coach. And, this is when Errol Spence was stopping everybody. Again, of course, he didn't have the same competition, but you can just tell the way he was cracking, man. And the way he was just bigger, stronger. Again, that's just hyperbole. I mean, that's just speculation. But, I honestly believe that makes a difference. But if it's assuming that it's with Blu-ray, I think he has a great chance of possibly stopping him, but I wouldn't be surprised again if it goes to UD and a close UD. That's why again, if it's going to go to the round decision, I believe it's going to be about 7-5, maybe 8-4, 7-5. But it's still going to be
a close fight.
A close fight. It's not going to. I don't think he's going to go in there and just because again, you just don't. He's just Manny Pacquiao. He is an all-time great, and then he's still dangerous. So
Well, the
can't lose.
key, I
I don't
mean,
think.
of
Go
course,
ahead.
I think that it's going to be a chess match in the first 4 rounds. They're going to be filling each other out. But I think the key for Earl, too, is going to be the jab. Because if you can't keep Manny Pacquiao at bay, man, I don't know, man. I don't know.
If it becomes a dog fight, if it becomes a dog fight, that'd be interesting to see.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, man. I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait to
Because I
see it.
do think it, but I don't think again, and this is the problem to people. And it's okay. Oh, let me know. Let's talk about Buck real quick. I'll get on Bud real quick. But this is the problem with people. Even though Earl Spence Jr., even though he people say he's flat footed, and I don't see that. I don't see somebody who's
I do.
to me when I think of flat foot, I'm thinking of Tony Margarita. I'm thinking Danny Garcia. That's when I think of flat footed. I don't think flat footed is the right term. I don't think he's bouncy like a Sugar Ray Leonard or nothing like that. But I don't think he's flat footed. I think that's a stretch.
He'll get out the way of one or maybe two punches, but not too many after that.
Well,
He'll get out the way on a couple of punches, but for me, he has a wide base frame, bro, so he can kind of get a little leverage on his fucking body shots.
I like to, and then I like to see, but I would love to see how the trading's going to be in the beginning. God, but in the beginning, if it's going to be, I'm not. See, I don't know because in the beginning, if Earl's going to trade with Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao got a little quicker hands and a little
Manny
bit more pop.
Pacquiao is going to beat him to the punch if he trade with him, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I think Manny is going to win.
I think that in the beginning, I think that it's very dangerous for Earl to go in there and try to trade with him. I think that's kind of dumb. That's why I think as he starts to slow down, you know, he not has much energy, then you can start going in there and using your size. But if you're going to go in the beginning with Manny Pacquiao, who has some crack to him, and then he's quick, I think because again, you know, Sean Porter gave Earl Spence some problems in the beginning. So you have somebody who has faster hands and punches a little harder than Sean Porter. That's going to be kind of dangerous. Just go in there.
He can't let Manny control the pace of the fight.
He can't.
He cannot do that, bro. That's why I think, honestly, I'm reversed. I'm opposite of you. I think he has to start fast. I think he got a dog walk, Manny. Like, I'm not saying don't use your jab to set up shit. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying he has to get on the inside. I don't think he can fight from the outside and beat Manny Pacquiao. He's not. His defense is not like a Floyd's or like a Terrence. Like, he's not a natural great counter puncher, in my personal opinion. He's a guy that likes to be first.
I agree with you, but that's how Earl Spence fights. If you saw the way that he go back to the Mikey Garcia fight.
I know that.
Okay, so you know Earl Spence. If you know anything about boxing, I'm saying you don't. But if anybody knows anything about boxing, Earl Spence, you can tell me the way he fights. He likes to establish ring generalship. You know what I'm saying? So he likes to pop that jab out quick. Bop, bop,
I don't
bop.
know if you watched my video on his keys to win victory over Manny Pacquiao, but I said that. I said he's a master at gauging the distance in the ring.
Yes, and
I give him credit. I never said he wasn't a good fighter.
No, I never said you said that. And what I'm saying is that Earl Spence Jr. does start a high pace in the fights because he when he comes out, he's already popping the jab in your face. If you notice, go back to almost all his fights. He'll start off with popping the jab, high energy, high pace. It's not like he'll just sit there and just stare at you like Adrian Broner. There's nothing like that. It's like
please don't compare nobody to Adrian Broner.
No, I'm just saying, you know, he's not like he does that. I'm saying that if you watch his last 5 fights,
I study. Okay. Listen, bro, I study Earl Spence like night and day, bro. Trust me. I know his game.
Okay, so you know that he starts off with a high pace.
Absolutely, I done watched all this man fights.
Okay, then. So what I'm saying is I don't think that I'm expecting Earl to go in there and just try to be a boxing savant and just make it a slow fight. No, I think that it's going to be, again, Earl Spence going to try to come out there, establish that distance, boom, 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 and coming on him late. That's why I say the first 6 rounds, you might see Earl Spence trying to his damnness to go in there and establish that distance, establish that jab. And then as the fight starts to go on, he starts to come on stronger because, again, he seems like a type of fighter that kind of
he likes to wear you down. He's like
a juggernaut, man.
This is game plan.
He's like a juggernaut, man. You can't just let him be him.
But that's my thing. See, I think he's gonna have to mix it up against Manny Pacquiao. I don't think he's gonna be able to come in and just do what he normally do, bro. Manny Pacquiao is a fucking awkward fighter. Now, maybe the key to this fight is both of them are southpaws, so maybe Manny not gonna be able to get them angles that he would normally get against a conventional fighter. So I have to see how that kind of shakes out. But I don't know, bro. I just think Earl got to make it an ugly fight. I personally
think and that's interesting. I do think he has to make it a little ugly, but I just don't think that he has to make it ugly in the beginning. But again, maybe he does because, hey, Sean Porter.
So basically, we saying the same thing, but you just think he need to do it later on in the fight.
Yes,
And I'm saying he needs to step on the gas early and get the old man out of there. I got you.
Yes.
So how confident are you in Earl winning on the scorecards against Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao? Just FYI.
Like what I think the score.
How like the judges may fuck him. I mean, let's be honest.
True. Hey, that's true.
Now it's some credence to that now.
True.
Okay,
I agree with you. Now that if it was a fair one, and most people believe the viewing public believe Earl Spence should have won, I could see the judges giving it to Manny because he's the big legend. They would almost want him to win.
Exactly.
They want him to win.
Which is another reason why I'm picking Manny Pacquiao.
You know that I will agree with. That's a possibility. So that's definitely a possibility. So Earl Spence needs to make it convincing. He needs to make it convincing. You know what I'm saying? That they can't. I don't think because he could be down. You know, he could be down a round or two going in there.
You never know. But what did you want to say about Bud, bro? Before I hop off, man, I need to wash my ass and go to sleep so I can wake up and work out in the morning, bro. What you got to say about Bud?
Okay, so Mr. Terrence Bud Crawford.
Yes, sir. Watch your mouth. Go ahead. I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's a good fighter, man. But I would love to see, like you made that video. You know, I would love to see the brother go on and you know, get out of his contract with Top Rank, and I would love to see him, you know, knock on the door to PBC and see what's cracking.
Man, I don't give a damn where he go. He just got to leave Top Rank, bro.
I agree.
It's just about being a man with integrity, with dignity, and having morals and principles.
And see, that's the thing about Mr. Bud Crawford. I think that he's just a man. He's a prideful dude, man. He's very prideful. You know, like, remember, he's the same guy who said, I don't need Errol Spence Jr. My legacy is set. So, yeah, I don't think he's the type of dude that strikes me like, oh, you know, I need this fight. I need to do this, do that. He's going to listen. Bud's going to do what he's going to do.
Yeah, he strikes me as a guy that don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he don't give a fuck. He's going to do what he's going to do. So, no, and nobody's going to force him either. So that's why I'm like, I want him to get up at that. So assuming that what Bernie said, you know, hey, man, let's do it. You know, let's get out that contract. Let's see what's, you know, let's get it. I want to see the best fight the best. So
absolutely, that's something we can definitely agree upon. I don't give a damn about promotional companies. I don't give a damn about protecting our favorite fighters. I don't know how good my favorite fighter is if he ain't going up against his best opposition. That's my entire premise of my YouTube channel. I'm here to make sure that we get the fights we want to see when we want to see them, just like the UFC fans.
Yeah, but the only thing about that is hard because boxing is controlled by so many different sanctioning bodies,
right? And networks and politics. They hide behind politics, and that's the shit that I don't like about Errol Spence. Because let's just say it is Al Heyman that's stopping this fight from happening, right? That everybody want to see. Then my nigga, just come out and say it. Just say, look, man, I'm really not my own boss. I want to fight Bud. I ain't scared of no fucking body. But right now, my team has a game plan. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. If it was up to me, I would fight the dude tomorrow. But it's not up to me. So, hey, y'all can just take this and leave it. I would be cool with Earl saying that.
I mean, he didn't.
But when he come out and say, hey, I'm my own boss, you ain't got to call Al. Send the contract, or I'm the A side, 70-30, 60-40, 80-20. That's when I'm like, well, goddamn, this ain't none of the shit you was saying when you was begging Keith Thurman for a fight. You understand what I'm saying? When you was in Bud position. But now the tables done turned. You ain't as hungry as you was. Now all of a sudden shit done switched up because I was a huge Earl fan. I was all for Earl chasing Keith Thurman when he had the fucking ponytail. But now that he done got the belts and he done just switched up on your boy. So I'm like, well, what the fuck? But go ahead.
Yeah, here, listen about that situation, man.
Go ahead.
I think that, like you said, well, see, I'm saying this. I don't think that Earl Spence is scared of Terrence Bud Crawford, but we have to understand that boxing is a business and the PBC is in a power position right now. They are not going to just allow this fight to be made on Top Rank. I don't think they're going to allow that, man. And if they do, they're going to have to get the majority of the split, man. I think that, like you said, you know, but Earl Spence already gave him his game plan. He said, listen, I'm going to clean up my side of the street, get all the belts over here that come for you. He said that already. I mean, I always stick by this. I don't understand with the Bud Man fans. I don't understand how they ain't getting this, man. The man said, I'm going to clean up to his face, I'm going to clean up my side of the street, then come for you. I.e., fight Terrence Bud Crawford for undisputed. I've stuck by that, and I have to go by his actions. He's fighting people who have belts or winning belts, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this fight, we thought it was going to be for a belt, but it's not. WBA went back on that.
Mikey
But
Garcia didn't have a belt, bro.
Mikey Garcia didn't have a belt, but that was a
And wait a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna let you talk. But you do realize whenever Bud approached him at that Maurice Hooker fight, that was around the time right before he fought Mikey Garcia, correct?
Yes.
So the fight could have been made that fucking year. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're correct.
Oh, and let me ask you one more thing, and then I'm gonna let you cook. Did that man not say on ESPN First Take, meaning Earl Spence, that all Bud got to do is get a belt and we can run it? Yes or no?
Yes, he did say that.
Okay, go ahead.
He did say that, but that doesn't mean he'll run it right now. That's what I'm saying. Get a belt.
See, now you're switching it up on me.
I'm not switching.
We was getting somewhere, Lenore. Now you're switching it up on me. Did the man say what I just asked you? Yes or no?
He did.
He didn't say. He didn't tell Steve. Listen, he didn't tell Stephen A. and Max, "Hey, once he get a belt, I ain't gonna fight him right away." He said, and I quote, "He got to worry about Jeff Horn. Once he get that belt, then we can line it up." That's exactly what he said.
So now you're changing it up. That's not what you just said originally. You just said right now when Earl Spence in response said he can get a belt. That does not mean he's gonna fight you right now. And going back to the Mikey Garcia thing, Earl Spence Jr. said to his face, and once again, I'm going to clean up my side of the street, then come for you for undisputed. That's what that's been saying. There's been other interviews out there where Earl Spence has said the same thing. That's not the only reference you can go by.
And you do realize he has also said whenever Bud approached him, you ain't fought nobody. You ain't did nothing at the welterweight division yet. Within that same confrontation, you do real. So it seems like to me, he moves the goalpost every time instead of saying, you know what, bro, look, I ain't gonna fight you right now, period.
So
if he would have said that initially, then I would have no fucking argument. But that's not what he said. The first thing he originally said to this man is go get a belt and we can fight. Once he got the belt, that's when the whole, oh, well, I'm going to fight Mikey. I'm going to fight Sean. I'm going to knock out Sean Porter, go the easier route. I'm going to fight Danny, maybe Manny. And then, oh, he didn't say nothing about Terrence. He didn't mention Terrence, huh? No, he didn't mention you. That's where that shit came into play. But go ahead.
But up until that point, Terrence Crawford didn't even have a belt. So why would he even consider fighting Terrence Bud Crawford if he didn't have a belt? When Earl Spence made that reference, it's like, bro, get a belt before I even consider fighting you. Now, he didn't say that, but I'm saying that's what it almost came off to seem to be. That's what I'm saying.
But he had the belt whenever he approached him at the Maurice Hooker fight and said, what's up? I am going to fight Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter. I'm going to knock him out. And then I'm gonna fight all these other motherfuckers. Am I lying? I mean, if I'm lying, just
no, you're not lying.
So that's also it's not unfair, or you can't say the Bud Man fans ain't keeping it funky because we only repeating what the man said. We hold it to his words.
But what I'm saying is it's the difference. Is that it's not right now. It's for undisputed. That's what I'm telling you.
You said what's for undisputed?
Earl Spence is going to fight Terrence Bud Crawford for undisputed.
How? When Ugas still got the WBA strap, so he got to fight one more fight, or Bud, because we know Bud not going to be able to fight Ugas because Al ain't going to let nobody cross the street, right? We agree on that, right?
I don't think that's. I think they're going to give it to Spence before they give it to Crawford.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But Spence has already came out and said he has 2 fights left at welterweight, including the Manny Pacquiao fight. He said, I told Al after the Manny fight, let's try to get Crawford. If I can't get Crawford, then I'm gonna go up to 154. So where is Ugas gonna come into play with this fucking WBA strap, bro?
Okay, so keeping it in context.
So it's not gonna be for undisputed, right?
So keep it in context. So when Earl Spence made that interview, I was saying that was an interview with Barbershop Conversations.
Yes, sir.
But Barbershop prefaced his statement and said that they are going to reinstate Manny Pacquiao. And Earl Spence in response said, in knowing that now, I just get Manny Pacquiao having 2 more fights, then fight Terrence Bud Crawford. Now we know WBA is not reinstating Manny Pacquiao. But at that point, we have believed that they were. And Barbershop stated that to Earl. And Earl again in response said, oh, I didn't know anything about that. But now that I know that, I can go after Terrence Bud Crawford, have 2 more fights, clean this guy up, and then go after Terrence Bud Crawford. So that has to be put into context.
Now, I listened to that interview, Lamar, and I do not remember him saying, "Oh, well, Manny ain't getting the other strap," and Earl doubling back and saying, "Well, damn, I'm gonna fight 2 more fights after Manny." I don't recall that, sir. So if you post that link to that video, okay, I will watch it and I will say, "Hey, I stand corrected. You are right," but I don't recall that, my brother.
No, well, yeah. I didn't say that. I said that basically Barbershop said that Manny is going to be reinstated, or either he said he is going to be, or he's already reinstated.
Right, because most people felt like he was going to be reinstated, which I did too. I feel like it would have been right to reinstate Manny, but the other day they said that they're not. So,
and I remember Earl Spence specifically said, "Oh, I didn't know that," and he said, and again in the interview later on, said, I fight Manny Pacquiao to see what Terrence Bud Crawford, his side of the street's talking about. But again, that was made in context. They see everything has to be taken in proper context. That was made during that time, and we thought that Manny Pacquiao had the belt back.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair to say. So let me just say this. I feel like once I guess we got to give Earl another opportunity to, if he gets past Manny, to see what he says after this fight. Let's see if he keeps that same energy, because it still ain't gonna be for undisputed if he don't go fight Ugas, and we don't know who Ugas gonna fight next, because I'm hearing it may be Keith Thurman, and who knows? I mean, Keith Thurman might be him, but Earl said he'll never fight Keith Thurman because he lame. He don't like.
I think he'll fight him for a belt. I think he'll fight him for a belt, but I don't think he's going to fight. Again, this is my conjecture. I don't think he's going to fight for no reason.
Hey, again, I'm just holding the man to his words, bro. I'm just bringing up shit that he said. This is not my opinion. This is not something I'm saying or speaking for. This is what he said. I'm just repeating what he said.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just saying.
Did he not say that?
He did say that. He did say
okay,
that.
right.
I'm just saying what I feel is I do think that the fight would be made if it's for a belt, but I don't think Earl's.
I hope you're right. I would love to see the fight.
I think we both agree we want to see.
Because for me, if I don't like a motherfucker, and if I can box and he can box, that gives me extra incentive to want to get in the ring and kick your ass, right? Earl, hey, you've been running from me from this long. Let me go ahead and put my hands up on you.
Now,
let me touch you up.
I will say this, because I know you got to go and I got to go too. I will say this, that after this fight, if Earl Spence gets past Manny Pacquiao, which I believe he will, there's no excuse that you shouldn't be fighting another champion, because I want the best fighting the best. You know what I'm saying? I want the best fighting the best.
So you ain't looking at Earl funny right now for fighting Manny Pacquiao with no WBA strap?
Well, again, I'm not sure.
Okay, he been saying it's strap season, Lennar. Come on now.
Okay. Let me say, I'm not sure. I'm not in it. Okay, I'm here. Hear me out. I'm not saying that that Earl Spence Jr. knew that belt was going to be on the line when he signed the contract. I don't know. I'm not in the man's brain, so I can't say. But to be fair, I mean, everybody would drop what they're doing to fight Pacquiao. Terrence Crawford said the same thing, that he wants Manny Pacquiao before Earl Spence Jr. So let's be fair. Everybody would do it. I think it's reasonable.
Bro, I go through my archives. I was the one saying, whenever I was calling Manny Pacquiao the biggest fucking joke in the sport of boxing, I'm not sure if you checked that video out yet, but go ahead and check that out. But I said if Earl Spence had the opportunity to fight a Manny Pacquiao, he would pounce all over that shit. And that's exactly what happened, because that was around the time when people were dissing Bud for trying to get a fight with Manny, because Manny didn't have the WBA belt, because he was a champion in recess. So my rebuttal was, damn, Earl will fight him too. Sean Porter will fight him too. Keith Thurman will fight him again too.
Listen,
so that's fair. Go ahead.
They're down there, but drop their draws to fight Manny Pacquiao.
Hey, I'm with you.
Okay, so let's just be real. Agree. Oh, and then I'll say this too, and this is to agreeing with Terrence Bud Crawford here, with his fan base, his extreme fan base.
I feel like Earl.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that I feel that's unnecessary and it's fucked up is about when this was an issue when Terrence Crawford was about to fight Manny Pacquiao. Everybody said he was 42 and that he was an old man, and that this ain't no good name. But when Earl Spence Jr. fights him, now it's an incredible name.
Boy, talk that shit.
I agree with you.
You talking that shit now?
I'm consistent, but with that being said, I can also flip it to say the same thing is when everybody calls Earl Spence Jr. basic, and then that's not correct. He's just a fundamental fighter. I think both of them get unnecessary hate on different angles. I think with Terrence Bud Crawford is, even if he fights a decent name and somebody, people are going to shit on him, and even when Earl Spence beats a name with some skills, people are going to shit on him and say he's basic. So I think that they both get some unnecessary hate sometimes. And I think that, you know, Bud is going to be when it comes to this particular situation, is that he's going to have to fight nothing less of somebody great for people to give him his credit. You know what I'm saying? And for Errol Spence Jr. in his case, you know, it's not right when people say that oh, he's just a basic fat-footed fighter, because it's just not true. And it's, you know, and the same people who say that are the same people who hate Floyd Mayweather Jr. The same people who hate Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the same people who hate Errol Spence Jr. And that's why I stand so hard behind his brother, because I know that I can just see it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And Terrence Bud Crawford gets his hate too. Like, for example, like I said, you know, again, you know, Terrence Bud Crawford is just a double standard when it comes to people when he fights people. I don't think he's fought no A-listers yet, but I do think he's fought decent, solid competition. Victor Postol, you know, he's a decent, you know, a B.
Ricky Burns, Gamble,
he hasn't fought
Breedis Prescott. He's fought some good fighters, but they're just not popular fighters. So, you know, the casual boxing fan will say that he ain't fought nobody, but when you look into the resumes of the dudes that he fought, these dudes have won belts in multiple weight classes. So just because they don't have a bigger name than a Danny Garcia or a Sean Porter or a Keith Thurman and such, then people are going to automatically assume that Bud hadn't fought nobody because that's the popular narrative to roll with.
And I agree that I don't agree with that he hasn't fought nobody, but I do agree with that he hasn't fought the super elite either.
He said it himself. He haven't fought a Hall of Famer.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a fact.
But to say he's fighting bums, I said that as a joke. But overall, if I'm being objective, he hasn't fought no bums. That's wrong to say he's fought bums.
Well, really, us as fans and commentators on YouTube, we can't really call nobody bums because we'll get our ass kicked by all.
Well, I mean,
I try to get away because I used to say Uber drive. Like I'm trying to get away from calling boxers bums. Let's just say they're not that good.
Hey, listen, I say bum because it's funny to say that, so I'll say it.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm just gonna pay these dudes their respect.
I know they'll mock me up, but I just
of course, debate, based on their competition, right? They're
for debate.
I get it. But what was I about to say? See, I disagree with your point. I do think that they get a lot of hate on both sides. But you mentioned something about Floyd Mayweather. The same people that hate Earl hate Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. Well, my man, Floyd Mayweather is probably my second favorite fighter of all time. I would say he won 1B behind B-Hop. B-Hop is my favorite fighter, right? Yeah. And I used to love Errol Spence. I just don't like, and I still like him. I just don't like the punk shit that he say outside of the ring when it comes to Terrence Crawford. So I don't hate Floyd Mayweather because I love him. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't hate Earl. I just hate the shit that comes out of his mouth because to me, he's a walking contradiction.
And with that being said, I mean, I don't agree with that. But I mean, when I said that some people hate Floyd, hate Earl, the reason why I say that is because, again, when Floyd was fighting and he got this extreme amount of hate, you know, he was beating the Mexicans, he was beating everybody, the British people, and he pissed off a lot of fan bases. And with Errol Spence Jr., he's pissed off a lot of fan bases. He's pissed off the Mexicans beating Mikey Garcia. He's pissed off Mexicans with him being mentioned about fighting Canelo. He's pissed off other fan bases, the Puerto Ricans, with beating Danny Garcia's ass. Right. So that's why I'm saying that he's pissed off a lot of fan bases. And when you fight big names and you beat their fighters, they get pissed off, man. They have bias against you.
But I feel like Errol gets a lot of love, bro. I feel like Terrence Crawford gets the most hate out of everybody.
Don't get it twisted. He definitely does. But I think
he gets a lot of love.
He gets a lot of love, but he gets a lot of hate. He's very polarizing, man. It's not like you can on YouTube, online. He's very polarizing, man.
Damn. See, I feel the opposite way. I feel like Terrence Crawford get all the hate, and I don't know why, because the dude don't ever say shit.
And like I said, it's unfair when people, overly criticize his resume. And I do think it can be criticized, but not to the extent they make it. I do think it can be criticized, though. I don't think it's any elite fighters yet, but I do think and like I said, I do think that when it comes to Errol Spence's skill set, he's very underrated. People don't understand. They say, oh, he's just basic and this and that and flat-footed, and then but every time they say that their fighter gets beat up. So how can
he a dog, man? Hey, I can't take nothing away from him. My only issue with him is I just want him to keep the same energy he had for Keith Thurman whenever he was climbing up the ranks, trying to get his, trying to make his mark on the sport of boxing. I just want him to use that same energy and disgust that he had for Keith Thurman and give Bud that same opportunity. That's all I've been saying.
Hey, at the end of the day, we're in agreement. We want to see the best fight the best, and I do want to see that fight.
I tell you what, my brother, it was a pleasure talking to you, man. You can call back in at any time. I would never block you or uncensor you just because you don't agree with what the fuck First of all, I'm not here to be liked anyway. I'm here to make the best fight happen, and I'm here to tell my truth. That's it. I'm not here to spin no narratives. I'm not here to hate.
As long as we keep it respectful, you keep respectful, I keep respectful, we can have disagreements. That's
Most
okay.
definitely. Most
All right,
definitely.
man.
Bro.
I appreciate the conversation.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you, man.
Have a good one.
You too, man. Hey, man, make sure y'all hit that like button on your way out, man. This is your boy E Thriller, man. Shout out to my boy Lenore. Shout out to all my old and new subs, man. I really appreciate y'all for rocking with me tonight. And yeah, man, just like that, your boy E Thriller. I'm gone. Holla.